Hey guys, welcome to Nyonya Cooking. In this video, I'm going to show you a famous snack in Malaysia which is pretty easy to prepare, and in fact if you've watched my Penang food tour video, you'll notice that I've mentioned this dish previously. And this is how to prepare Muah Chee. Muah Chee sounds very much like mochi. Well, it is really like mochi because of the consistency. In Malaysia, mochi is so slightly warm and then coated with fresh ingredients such as black sesame or white sesame, crushed peanuts and more. These days you can even find mochi of so many different flavors, but today we are going to really attempt the very simple ones, which are black and white sesame and also crushed peanuts. So let's take a look at the ingredients to prepare soft, delicious mochi. We need some shallot oil, pinch of salt, sugar, corn flour or tapioca flour, glutinous rice flour, and warm water. If you want to see how to prepare your own shallot oil, which is really simple, check out the link in the description box, and there I have a whole video on it. To coat the mochi, we'll need some black sesame, white sesame, raw peanuts, and also sugar. Now, you can use raw peanuts as what I'm using here, but if you want things to be simpler, you can always buy crushed peanuts. But I'm going to make my own crushed peanuts because it's so much more fun. It's really easy to prepare. So, first things first, we are going to toast the white sesame, black sesame, and also raw peanuts. Now, I have a pan here already heated at medium heat, and I'm going to pour the peanuts in. All we're going to do now is just to heat up the peanuts and just slightly toss it once in a while, just to ensure that it doesn't burn. And all we want is just for the fragrance and the aroma of the peanuts to really come out and really appear, so that when we crush it later on and wrap it around the mochi, it's going to be so delicious and it's going to smell really good. Continue tossing and you'll hear the crackling sounds of the peanut skin. The other thing that you need to take notice is that the skin will start to crack as well. So that's a good sign, because we'll then remove the skin from the peanuts. Now that it's ready, I'm going to use a clean kitchen towel to remove the peanut skin. So, lay it on, and I'm going to pour the peanuts here. So this trick was actually shared to me in my satay video, where I also had a bit of difficulties removing the skin of the peanuts. By the way, that's a very good recipe. If you want to check that out, you can also do so on my website nyonyacooking.com. We are going to remove this by just rubbing it. Yep, and you can actually hear the skin is sort of being removed there. Yeah, so yeah, sort of there. More work to be done. This is done. You can see a bit of skin here and there, but it really doesn't matter. The next thing is to roast the white sesame. It will take about 1 minute until you can smell the aroma from the sesame, and that's when we can bring it out. So, lastly, black sesame. The next step is to work with the black and white sesame and also peanuts. So I'm going to have this black sesame into the blender. You can also use pestle and mortar to do this. And we are not going to blend too long. Now this really helps to bring out the aroma of the black sesame. That's how it looks like. Now that it's done with the black sesame, white sesame now. Lastly, we are going to blend the peanuts. I've only blended the peanuts for about 10 seconds because I didn't want them to be really fine. Just scoop it out into a bowl. And right now you could smell the mixture of the blended black and white sesame along with the peanuts. It smells heavenly in here. Now all the steps with the black and white sesame or also the peanuts, you can do it in at once. That's totally not an issue. In fact, it will save much more time. I decided to do it everything at one time. But anyway, now we are going to go to the star of the dish, which is Muah Chee itself, the dough. So here I have the glutinous rice flour. pour it into a bowl. And then corn flour, or you can also use tapioca flour. There are many recipes out there which do not actually ask you to use tapioca flour or corn flour. But I believe that when you use corn flour, it makes the whole dough or the batter itself much more smoother and much more springy. So that's my suggestion. And now we are going to add sugar. Mix well. And do not forget salt. Just to give it a bit more taste. Alright? So, very carefully, I'm going to pour water into the dry ingredients. I'm using warm water here, and that's very important to create a smooth dough and also to expand the glutinous rice flour when it starts cooking. So that will ensure that we will have a very smooth dough and also a very springy muah chee. So carefully, bit by bit. And then we'll add shallot oil into this. So just keep mixing. And at this point of time, you smell the aroma from the shallot oil. So that really helps. If you do not have shallot oil, just use vegetable oil. That would also do the trick. Sometimes people also add pork lard into this to get this very aromatic smell. Ensure that you're mixing really well. You know, the oil, the flour, they all come together. And here I have a clean plate. All I need to do is just to pour this into it. And we are going to steam the batter. I also have a cloth here just to wrap the cover of the pan, and that ensures that the water droplets do not fall into the muah chee later on. You should be steaming this for about 10 to 15 minutes to ensure that it's really cooked. And to check, we'll be using a toothpick. Yep, nothing comes out. That means it's ready. The muah chee is almost ready. Now that it's still hot, I'm going to use the chopstick and directly give it a quick mix like this. You can cut it and then coat them with a bit of sugar and black sesame and such, but if you don't have this step to use the chopstick and continue mixing like this, it will not be that springy. So that's why we need to continue doing this for a while. You can also use a wooden ladle if you like, but if you're using a chopstick, remember to use them as a pair and not just one by itself. You'll notice that it tends to get a bit springy. And it's done. So I've been mixing like this for about 3 minutes. Now we're going to cut a small piece. You can also use a kitchen knife, grease it a little at the tips. As you bring it out, just cut. There, it comes off easily. And sugar. If you want it to be slightly sweeter, of course you can add more sugar. So at this pace you can control the sweetness. And then we have the muah chee in. Using the kitchen scissors, I'm just going to cut it like that. And then continue coating it with sugar and also peanuts. And that's about it. The muah chee is actually ready. Now you can continue repeating this process with sesame seeds and of course add some sugar into it. It's so good. This is awesome. I think the shallot oil really came through very well. It makes the muah chee so delicious. Oh, I'm so excited to try the rest. So I'm going to continue coating this with more peanuts and also sugar and black sesame, white sesame as well. When coating mochi, let your imagination run wild and play around with the different ingredients. So I here have mixed black and white sesame together and also a bit of sugar. Always add some sugar because we want some sweetness. I'm going to try this mix mochi. It's so soft and slightly warm. Oh yeah, look at that. And I'm going to try it. I'm totally loving this recipe. It is so delicious. Now make this, and if you have some extra muah chee like what I have here, you can always store it in a container, in an airtight container, and leave it aside. It should be still soft for about 1 to 2 days. And if it's slightly harder, you can always steam it again, and then remember to use a chopstick to give it a mix again, just to ensure that you have this elasticity and also the softness in the mochi like what I've recommended to you. So I cannot wait for you to try out this recipe. Give me a thumbs up while you're here and also subscribe to this channel if you have not. Do you know you can also inspire others to cook? It's so simple. Once you've tried any recipes on Nyonya Cooking, join the rest of the Nyonya community and upload your delicious recreations. Until then, I wish you happy cooking!